Here are 5 awesome tips that are really going to help you improve your topspin forehand. And if at any time during this video you say, you know what, I'm going to commit to it, I'm going to get a TopspinPro, you can use my link. It's in the description. I'm also going to pin it in the first comment. Tip number 1, when you prepare, do so with both hands on your racket and your hand, elbow, and shoulder all at the same height. We want to use a high, low, high swing path. We want the swing to kind of be like a Ferris wheel, right? That goes up, down, and up. That's going to allow us to get racket speed and also get topspin. Please do not separate your hands right away, and please do not take the racket down low with your hand lower than your shoulder. Turn with both hands, hand, elbow, shoulder, the same height. You might even feel like you're elbowing someone behind you with that elbow, right? So let me do a couple here. When you hit on the TopspinPro, always do a split step, because you're going to do a split step when you play. Last one. Tip number 2, clear the non-hitting hand forward as the racket drops. This is critical to unlocking the ability to rotate and allow not your arm to hit the ball, but body rotation to hit the ball, which is truly what we want. When you turn with both hands on the racket, hand, elbow, shoulder, the same height, like you're elbowing someone behind you, now we've got to let go with this non-hitting hand as the racket drops, but we don't want the non-hitting hand to drop. We want the non-hitting hand to go forward. That's the relationship between the racket dropping and the non-hitting hand clearing. This is what allows for the body to rotate and for you to not get scrunched and contact the ball late, but to rotate the hips, rotate the shoulders, and contact the ball out in front where we can swing low to high. The non-hitting hand causes so many problems for recreational players. But if you just prepare correctly, and that as the racket drops, your non-hitting hand clears forward, you'll set the stage for the domino effect of hitting a perfect shot out in front with topspin. So I'll do a few more. Watch this relationship, my non-hitting hand going forward as the racket drops. This is what you see with Alcaraz. Djokovic. That non-hitting hand goes perfectly forward. Tip number 3, make sure when you drop the racket down that you close the racket face. Closing the racket face means taking your strings and having them point down. Now, it's not flat to the ground. Think about it at a 45-degree angle. But when your racket is closed in the back, when you drop, that's what ensures that when you get to the ball, your strings are facing forward toward your target. Might be a little easier now to see this from the side. Notice my racket is not straight up and down like a knife going through a stick of butter. Instead, I'm tilting the strings down toward the ground. By the way, if you have an Eastern grip, you'll tilt by turning your palm to the ground and really focusing on wherever your palm faces, that's where your strings face. If you're more semi-Western or even Western, then your racket face should close naturally just because of the angle of the racket and the way it's positioned in your hand. Nonetheless, you need your racket face closed as a recreational player for consistent topspin and consistent accuracy hitting the ball low over the net and having it not pop up. See, if your racket's straight up and down in the back, it'll end up being open when you strike the ball. Otherwise, you have to roll the racket and you have a very small hitting zone. If your racket's closed, you just naturally go to the ball and your strings are straight up and down. You don't have to do anything or manipulate the racket. One of the reasons why beginners hit the ball over the fence all the time, you can always notice beginners, right? The coach is feeding them balls and they're hitting, the ball just keeps going up. It's because in the back, the racket is straight up and down, and by the time they get to the ball, the racket face is open. The racket opens to contact, so close it before you hit so the strings are facing forward as you hit. So I'll make sure that at the bottom, I close the racket so I can get topspin. Tip number 4, when you're contacting the ball, you should look like you're waving with your non-hitting hand to your opponent. There is a direct correlation between the height of the non-hitting hand and the level of the player. Look at beginners, players who are just starting out. What do they look like every time they hit the ball? Their non-hitting hand is down here. And then as you incrementally go up the levels, you will see that the non-hitting hand gets higher and higher. Look at Djokovic. Look at Leighton Hewitt. He's one of the best examples of this hand up as they strike the ball. See, as the non-hitting hand clears, it naturally stays up. When the non-hitting hand drops, that's when people will hug themselves and it impedes hip turn. Maybe you even know someone who hits a forehand like this and they end up hugging themselves. They look like they're in a straitjacket when they're done hitting the forehand. It's because they separated the hands, and now at the beginning, instead of coiling with both hands and during the unit term, they let go too soon and then they drop this hand. You see so many players in the tennis club, they look like this as they're hitting the forehand, where in the Pro Tour, you see this all the time. So when you're striking the ball, look at video footage of your forehand. Stop the video at contact. When you're striking the ball, you should look like you are waving. One of the ways to do that is to just pause at contact on the TopspinPro. So I've got all my parts to my swing, and I'm going to stop and just wave. So notice I'm actually going to stop to make sure that I'm doing this correctly. Tip number 5, I want you to catch the racket with your non-hitting hand when you're done. You know, a lot of times players say, well, Ryan, what is the finish? Like, how does that even matter? It's after contact. The ball doesn't even know what you're doing. And that might be true, but the finish doesn't live in isolation. It's a continuation of what you were doing during contact. So think about it. When we're hitting the ball, we want to be swinging from below contact to above contact at varying degrees, depending on how much spin and pace you're trying to put on the ball. But if you're putting topspin on the ball, there is somewhat of a low to high swing path. Whether gradual or steep, it doesn't matter. There's a low to high swing path. And we want to be waving to the opponent as we strike the ball. Well, when you swing low to high and you wave with your non-hitting hand up here, an easy finish is just to catch the racket, because catching the racket ensures that you swung low to high and that your non-hitting hand was up. So you can actually improve the shot with the finish, and that's why I teach catching the racket. So film yourself shadow swinging, or if you have video footage of you hitting, check it out right now and see if you've got those 5 ideas and get yourself a TopspinPro. This thing is absolutely awesome. It allows you to practice all the techniques that you're learning here on 2 Minute Tennis on YouTube. But work on these ideas, your forehand is going to quickly improve. Now, if you're tired of lugging around your old and outdated ball machine, then just make your tennis friends jealous and get the Proton Ball Machine by Hydrogen Sports. And right now you can get free shipping in the USA when you use my link. It's in the description. You'll find it in the first comment. You'll also see it on the screen at the end of this video. The Proton is fully programmable using its intuitive app. In fact, you control it using your smartphone or watch. It holds up to 100 balls and weighs less than 20 pounds. To see how truly amazing this ball machine is, and to get free shipping when you order one, be sure to use my link. Now, before I share that link with you, if you're looking for new practice partners in your local area, maybe you want to find stronger opponents to play singles or doubles against, or you want to find a great local coach who can help you with your game, then check out PlayYourCourt. It's a database of players and coaches in your local area who you can contact today and start playing more tennis. I've put their link in the description. I'm also going to pin it in the first comment. Check out PlayYourCourt. You're going to love it. Click right there to check out the Proton Ball Machine, and with that link, you're given a coupon code for free shipping. Work on your forehand. Diligently shadow swing and work on these ideas. If you do, there's no doubt you're going to gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy from 2minutetennis.net. You got this.